All right, Joe, welcome in for your swing evaluation. We're going to take a look at your swing from two different camera angles. All right, the left side, this is all about direction, this down the line camera. So we're looking at club face and club path. On the right side, this is about ball contacts. So your miss is to hit the ground first, be able to show you why, what's going on. All right. First, I want to introduce you to the tech that we're using. In addition to the launch monitor and the video camera, we're also using a motion capture system. It's called OptiMotion. Looks like this. This is going to follow you around whenever you make swing and measure how much you're moving in direction. All right. The real benefit to us is that we've put a bunch of tour players on the same system, and we know what the best players in the world do whenever they make a golf swing. So the measurements that we're looking at are how much do you turn, tilt. So a lot of people refer to that as side bend, so tilting to the side. Shoulder and hip bend would be how much you are bending forward or standing up from the waist, and then hip and shoulder sway would be like how much you're moving side to side. Okay. These numbers are also color-coded to make it a little bit easier to understand. Green numbers are tour average. That is what the best players in the world do. So you see a lot of green numbers, typically pretty happy. When you see numbers that are yellow or red, that would be more inclined to have you hit a fade or a slice. Fade or slice for the red and yellow numbers. If you see blue numbers, then that's typically more draw than you want, so kind of a hook. So I'll use these numbers at different positions. For the most part, this is going to live in the background. I'll just kind of pull up the ones that I need as I need them. Like I said, if you have any questions, stop and let me know. All right, so starting with this down the line camera, you saw a tiny bit further away, but like I said, I accommodate. You are bent forward at the waist, the proper amount, just like most tour players do. You got a little bit of bend in your knees, just like most tour players do. So everything downswing should kind of follow this bottom line, this bottom swing plane line. You do the exact same thing. Your hands in the club are exactly in the right spot. You turn and tilt to start your takeaway, right? All of that looks fine. You get to the top of your backswing, you want to feel like you're creating some depth, so kind of reach behind you, turn all the way, get your hands up in the air, right? You tilt down about the same amount that your upper body, your chest is pointed down at address, right? So tour players, by the time they get to the top of their backswing, their left shoulder is tilted down kind of in the high 30s, 37 is a good number. And the way that I think about this, the miss that I typically expect is you start off with your face this far away from the golf ball, right? And by the time you get to the top of your backswing, if you have moved a couple of inches away from it, now it suddenly gets, right? So when you swing down, this is the direction that you want to focus on to start. What you're looking for is to swing on plane. So you want the shaft of the club to get back down in between those two lines. That would be a great spot to be at. Your swing tends to be a little on the steep side, right? So you're coming down kind of in line with your shoulder, just right on the... So you're tending to be just a little bit above that plane. If you had that a little bit lower iron swing and that the club face is a little bit open right here, typically you want this pointed down towards the ball like this. This is more exaggerated with your driver swing. So when you swing throughout the course of your swing, instead of going from an open face to a closed face. And that's what you do. I want to show you one other piece of this swing that relates to your potentially fat shots. And it's something that a lot of people refer to as early extension. So over here, I've got Cameron Champ. He is somebody that really exaggerates this motion, which is that when he makes a backswing and a downswing, his upper body actually moves closer to the ball, like this. So this is the anti-early extension swing. So he kind of bends further down in his downswing instead of just maintaining his position. The top of your backswing, you lift up, like I said, so the left shoulder comes up a little bit, and then this number is the next one you're paying attention to. As you swing down, this number should get back to where it started, should get back to kind of in the 40-degree range, right? And yeah, you're a little shallow. And then from this point on, now it should start going up, right? So from 43 is tour average down to 34, right? So you get to 30-something, and then it stays there. That was ball contact, right? So if you look at your address position and then your impact position, you can see that your head moves backwards a little bit. You know, the handle and your hands both move upwards a little bit. So that changes. So your address position from the front view is not especially suited or designed. Ideally, you would want your left arm to start off very straight, and you want the shaft of the club to be leaned forward slightly. Right? This kind of presets the idea that you are first and then hit the ground. Start off with the handle forward, and then by the time you get to impact, still deliver it there like you were talking about. Bent forward, you get the ball position, you know, middle, slightly forward in your stance. All of that looks fine. Look at your grip, and you've got, so in the backswing, from the space on view, one of the main things I'm looking at is whether or not you can control where you hit the ground. Okay, so most tour players, when they make a backswing, they really keep their weight pretty centered. They don't really tend to shift back all that much. Morikawa here probably moves more than most players do, and he opens up just a tiny bit of space right there. At the time he gets to the top of his backswing, that space is gone. Right, so he is very centered, upper and lower body at the top of the backswing. As you swing back, you do a pretty solid job of turning and extending your spine and creating a big backswing. Your lower body and your left knee tend to move over just a little bit. Not much, not much, less than an inch, but it's notable, right? If you're moving your knee over, moving your hips over, then you're moving the bottom of your swing back just a little bit. If you don't shift far enough forward in the downswing, then you're likely to hit the ground first. So anybody who's struggling with, you know, fat shots or inconsistent contact, it's almost the first thing that we talk about is just whether or not you're able to control your hip sway. It's one of the bigger muscles that is working on that golf swing. So keeping your weight centered, that's exactly what I would be going for. The power components of your swing are fantastic. You do a great job of extending your spine. You make a full backswing, like you can see your back coming around here. So you're being very efficient in the way that you generate power. In the downswing, right? This now is where you want to start moving. So the lower body is going to move across that line, like so. And every good player on tour is going to hang on to this angle for a long, long time in the downswing. You hear people talk about trying to compress the ball, trying to deliver handle forward. That's exactly what you're going for. So impact position, when you look at impact, the checkpoints are that you want your lower body more towards the target than it was at the top of your backswing. You want your upper body to still be in place, so you're not shifting everything forward. And then when I look at the lead arm versus club head, you want the club head to still be behind where your lead arm is pointing, specifically your forearm, right? So when you make your downswing, right, you push across that line, right? Your downswing, this angle is thrown away just a little bit. Ideally, you want your right shoulder to start to move down first. So your left shoulder down is down about 5 degrees. Tour players, when the shaft of the club is parallel to the ground, they already have their right shoulder down about 12 degrees. Right, so that change in orientation of your shoulders plays a big part in being able to maintain your wrist bends of the downswing, as well as to generate some club head speed. And then your impact position here, right, you do a good job of getting your lower body forward, you have your upper body still in place, right, but everything else that I mentioned could be better, right? So you want that right shoulder to be down a little bit more, and the impact position here is the shaft of your club, and here is from your elbow out to your wrist. This is your forearm. So you want this red line behind this yellow line. Right? If you were able to do that, that is that handle forward, you know, lag, ball compression that you're looking for.
Yeah, I really feel like I don't compress the ball.
You don't. Yeah, you definitely throw that away. You know, when you're talking about club face control earlier, a lot of times I'm looking at what happens to your wrist, the top of your left hand as you swing down. So we mentioned that your face is a little bit open. As you swing down, you're rolling that left hand over, right? And that's your solution to your open club face. You're trying, you're crossing your wrists over each other. So that's your solution to your open club face to try and square it up. As you go through the bag, right, if you were to do that too much, you would pull it left. If you didn't do it enough, you would push it right. Okay? As the clubs get longer, it gets harder to control that club face. Right? So with your short clubs, if you make that same motion, right,
so
you're rolling your hands over, shut the face. As the clubs get longer and longer, you tend to start leaving the face a little bit. As we get into the follow-through, last couple of checkpoints here, both arms to stay pretty straight. You want your weight to continue moving forward, start to get off of your back foot, and then you want to extend your spine. You want to get that reverse C shape and have your upper body kind of pointed towards the sky, right? That's that spinal extension, that shoulder bend that I was talking about. So as you get into the finish, it is all arms, right? So your upper body is still kind of pointed at the ground. You get that famous chicken wing with the left arm and the left wrist. You don't have a whole lot of shoulder tilt, so you need that right shoulder to tilt down even more as you get into your follow-through. And you need to continue turning towards the target, right? All of those motions that you're making make it really, really difficult to keep your left arm straight. If you made a downswing and the only thing you did was try and keep your left arm straight, you would slam the club into the ground first every single time. You cannot do it just by keeping your elbow straight. It's everybody on tour. The left arm stays straight until the right arm is past parallel. But what I'm saying is that you've got to get your body to move the right way in order for that to happen. You can't just keep your arm straight. It will not work. And then as you get all the way into the follow-through, right, the finish position is great. Rock solid. You could turn a little bit more with the back foot and the lower body, come around a little bit further. You do a really good job of getting your weight forward, right? Your upper body forward. You get some of that extension in your spine. You could do a little bit more, but you got a pretty full follow through. Looks not bad at all. So for your driver swing, we see a lot of the same stuff. No real differences between the two. Maybe some of the stuff is just a little bit exaggerated because it's a longer swing. Right, but you still go back, you still tend to sway back a little bit at the top of your backswing, you still lose that shoulder tilt that we were talking about before, and then the path is pretty much the same, everything's just a little bit steep.
So right there, you already want my right shoulder coming down.
You want the shaft of the club to be underneath that yellow line,
so
right?
Could be my right elbow flaring out, like I feel.
Yeah, it could be a combination of wrist bends or shoulder turns. So if you turn too fast, then the club tends to come out this way. For some people, it's just the way that they're using your arms. You want your hands to drop down first before you start to swing out. But at the end of the day, if the club is out here, if the club is above that line,
yeah, I don't like that.
that's going to be a fade every time. And like I was talking about, that club face is really open, and then you're now trying to close it by the time you get to impact. And then the follow through, pretty much the same. Still a little bit bent, still a little bit bent forward. Could turn some more, right? And you really like to hang on to this this back foot. I'd like to see your heel, a little bit more straight up in the air when you follow through. Get a little bit more turn in the lower body. So take a look at the difference. This is kind of your side by side. On the left, this is where you started. So the path is everything just a little bit above that line, not a bunch.
No. The old swing.
This was the old swing. So you're going to curve off to the right. That's your side spin. On the right, this is the swing that you just made. So you come further inside, you reach further back behind you, and then in the downswing, you stay under that line. Right? So now you got your hands, you got the club right on top of your hands, right on plane. That's perfect. Right there, right on top of your hands. Yep, that's where your club head is. So that's an on-plane swing, and that's going to produce a draw more often than not.